Well, a very good day to you. Welcome to this week's episode of The Big Question. I am your host here, Simon Irungu, always joined in by a political analyst, our very own Professor Herman Manyora, the founder and president of Nairobi Review. Prof, how are you doing?
Great.
Great. Remember, we always tell you to give us your feedback because we really value your feedback, and we're always there at the comment section to find out what you have to say about the state of the nation. Now, this week, Prof, I'm going to be taking a comment from Ken Kelvin. Okay? I'll go ahead with the comment from Ken Kelvin. Yes. Congratulations to William Ruto. Prof, I have been listening to your shows and I don't think William Ruto's presidency is the best for Kenyans right now, Prof. Now, what do you think about this comment from Ken Kelvin?
Well, those are his views.
Okay.
This is a man Kenyans have elected and they think he's the best. So who is he to think he's not the best?
Okay, the main reason I brought up this question, Prof, it's because there was a show that we did with you and you said that William Ruto, yes, he has the qualities of a president, but he's not supposed to be the president right now, maybe perhaps 2027.
You know, then he was a candidate. We are looking at candidate William Ruto vis-a-vis candidate Raila Odinga.
Okay.
And the thinking of some people was that Raila was a better candidate to take over than William Ruto. As things stand now, it's William Ruto who has taken. So we must deal with him as the president. Okay. Unless you want us to compare and say, supposing it was Raila.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go that way. Suppose it was Raila.
You see, I have explained this point many times.
Okay.
I say our first president was Jomo Kenyatta. The second president was Daniel Arap Moi. Daniel Arap Moi did more things than Kenyatta did. You could say he was better than Kenyatta. Came in Mwai Kibaki, who surpassed Moi in various ways. He pushed the country forward. Came Uhuru, who has done better than those others. Ruto is certainly going to do better than Uhuru has done. Certainly better. Raila was coming in with a different thing. The conversation that this country was going to have with the Raila president was entirely different. It's a question of what kind of country do we want in the next 150 years from now. That is Raila's presidency. It was more of how would Kenya realize her potential.
Okay.
Instead of just moving forward. You know, moving forward, Ruto will move the country forward.
Okay.
Raila was going to move the country forward while asking many questions. While looking at why we are where we are instead of being where we should be.
Okay.
So that's the difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that Ruto is the 5th president of Kenya, Prof,
Yes.
Will William Ruto be able to save the Kenyan economy?
That's the challenge.
Okay.
That's the challenge.
Looking at the fact that you have taken a government that has it's very dilapidated.
Correct.
Okay. Now, do you think he's going to save this economy?
There's a big challenge. Turning around this country, especially the economy, is not easy. But he's not alone. Many world leaders are facing the same challenge.
Okay.
The challenge of a badly performing economy across the world. It's a global problem. It's a global challenge. So countries are feeling the pinch. You know? And Ruto, as the leader of this country, will have to figure out how he can manage the problems. Either he will succeed or he will fail. But it's a daunting task. Whether he's up to the task, I don't want to say I know, because I don't certainly know. But I'm sure he will try. The challenges are enormous, huge. The economy is doing badly, like you say.
Okay.
Some of the challenges will be the sort of promises you made. If you try to implement those promises, you could go the Sri Lanka way.
Okay.
The economy could collapse, come to a halt. Again, how is he going to relate with the World Bank and IMF, especially IMF, and some of our donor partners, you know, some of our partners? So to navigate between what IMF is forcing you to do and what you think the country ought to do, to balance the debt burden, to renegotiate afresh, it's not an easy task. It's quite difficult. You need the best men and women to help you push the country forward.
Okay, now let me quote the president. Challenges of high cost of living can be dealt with if we invest in agriculture, Prof. We see that the president, says that he's going to invest in agro-processing industry, animal feeds and fertilizer. Do you think this is going to help tackle the high cost of living in Kenya currently?
You know, it's good to invest in agriculture in a manner in which the president and my friend Dee and the rest are saying. But I doubt they have a good understanding of the problems of this country. You cannot reduce the problem of this country to agriculture.
Okay.
And even within that agriculture, the solutions they think will work will not work. It's unfortunate for them. They've just brought in fertilizer. I don't know how they knew they were going to win and then bring the fertilizer.
Perhaps they foresaw. Okay.
Let's start with a fertilizer, for example. You think farmers are not doing well because of fertilizer?
You tell me.
That's a very cheap way of understanding the problems in agriculture, even if we are just talk about agriculture.
Okay, me personally, I think the issue is on a...
First of all, the bags of fertilizer, are they enough? Even the cost they are saying is lower. Is it good enough?
But it's...
I'm not sure if I went to look for international fertilizer prices. The international prices landed in Mombasa. I will be very surprised if it's less than 2,000 per kilo, per bag of 50 kg. I'll be very surprised because there's a time I was trying to do that business and I realized these are all buccaneers, economic mercenaries. You get it? So, first of all, the number of bags of cement,
fertilizer,
it can make a difference, a drop in the ocean. Secondly, if you think farmers are not doing well because of agriculture, then your understanding is extremely limited. Extremely limited. Because if you gave 10,000 bags of fertilizers to farmers, for example, just as a figure,
okay,
maybe only 5 bags at the very most will end up with the farmers in the field. The other 5,000, the same farmers will sell it to other people. I was giving an example, including to people who may use it on their flowers in the compound. Why? Because in many places, you need at least 2 bags, average of 2 bags of fertilizer, DAP, per acre. Many farmers don't even get do a bag. So if you give a farmer who is doing 5 acres, if you give them 10 bags, if they use the 10 bags, 2 per acre, the yield will be good. And that's what Ruto and the rest are looking for.
okay.
But this farmer has a child who has been chased from school. For very small things. The farmer will use 1 bag per acre instead of 2 and sell the 5 to send the child back to school.
Okay.
Another farmer will sell 5 bags and use 5 because they have not eaten for the last 3 days. And the moment the fertilizer lands in that village or in that location, there are people going around buying the fertilizer from these farmers because they know the conditions the farmers are in. That's why I'm saying Ruto and these people have a very poor understanding of the problem. And again, it is not just for agriculture in terms of fertilizer. It's in terms of the land tenure system. Who has arable land in this country? What are they doing with the land? You get it? It's a question of which parts of the country should grow maize and which ones shouldn't. So the problem is bigger than they are trying to think.
Okay.
The problem of this country cannot be reduced to agriculture, number one. And within agriculture itself, the intervention they are coming up with, they are good, but they cannot even be 1/8 of what is required to sort out agriculture in this country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now agro-processing industries, Prof,
Yes.
the way I'm seeing it, the way I'm reading it, Prof, when we invest in these industries, Prof, we create employment.
Yes.
And we get fertilizers and animal feeds at a cheaper prices for Kenyans. Now we have killed 2 birds with 1 stone. We've created employment and we've produced fertilizers at low cost of living. Prof, that's the same script that William Ruto is reading from.
If you wanted to address a fertilizer, you don't import and subsidize. You build fertilizer plants in Kenya and produce your own fertilizer.
That's why they're saying agro-processing industry.
Agro-processing industries means value addition. Now, let's say there are farmers who produce sunflower or something or avocado, and they can produce cooking oil. Small scale. That's agro-processing, value addition. How does a farmer benefit from producing, how do farmers in Muranga benefit from producing oil when the country has allowed foreign people to import foreign oil cheaply into the country? Who will buy your oil? Cooking oil. You know, it's complex. What is their stand on importation of cooking oil? You must start there. It is not easy. These things they are saying, they are giving very kindergarten solutions to big problems. Yeah, and we will continue trying to help them by critiquing and telling them, look here, the problems in agriculture are not as simplistic as you think. Secondly, you cannot tell Kenyans to wait for agriculture to pick up to address their problems. Kenyans are dying of hunger now. Kenyans can't take their children to school. Kenyans cannot afford medical care for their loved ones. They can't wait for agriculture to pick up, even if it will pick up. Okay. You understand? I think the problems we have in this country call for very serious thinking and interventions. Okay. And I'm not seeing that coming from the Ruto government. Not now. Okay,
so that was a manifesto that they gave, Prof.
Yes.
Now, in a situation where they are not able to deliver this manifesto, then what, Prof?
They will go home if they can't deliver.
The people are going to take it to the streets?
No, let me tell you, in this country, revolution is not far. No. I was telling Bon Galwale on a tweet, you people, you are playing with Kenyans. You go to Naivasha to spend money when people are dying at the induction. Governors go to Mombasa. And the vehicles are traveling from all over the country to go down, going to show governors around, and they go around in nightclubs when Kenyans are dying. MPs are doing useless things, Safari Park, I don't know, in the induction, and Kenyans are dying of hunger. This country is courting disaster. There will be a revolution in this country, sooner than I think. So our leaders must wake up and smell the coffee. They must realize the first thing we want to do is to tighten our belts. A father cannot be wasteful, coming home drunk, when children have not gone to school. Your children have not eaten, and you come in a new suit. What kind of parent are you? Because our leaders must know they are our parents now. You cannot go to Naivasha to spend millions of shillings in a country where people are eating even dogs and wild berries. Okay. You cannot do that. So this is why I'm saying there is going to be a revolution in this country unless we take care. And the revolutions are not good things, especially revolutions in the sense of street impeachment, where people just spill into the streets and yet they have no solution in mind. There is no leadership like you have seen in Sudan and Egypt and elsewhere and Sri Lanka. Those kind of so-called revolutions are destructive. They must be avoided. The Russian Revolution, the Cuban Revolution, the Ethiopian Revolution under Mengistu, those are different. Thomas Sankara, those are well thought of revolutionary movements. But a revolution in terms of people being too hungry to wait at home to die, they want to die in the streets. That we must avoid. Okay. We avoid that by not going to Naivasha, Mombasa, Safari Park. It is token. It is symbolic. It shows the people who are suffering that you understand they are suffering. It doesn't mean the 50 million, 200 million they will spend on the coronation of Ruto is anything. It just shows you understand Kenyans are suffering. And that message is important. You get it? So when you are doing expenditure in a country where people are suffering, you have to be very cautious. That's what I'm saying. Very cautious.
Now, as we wrap up the conversation, what will you tell Kevin then?
I'll tell Kevin he has to pray for Ruto because Ruto is his president. If Ruto succeeds, we all succeed. So we must pray for him and support him to succeed. That's what Kevin must know. Kelvin or Kevin?
Kelvin.
Kelvin Ken. pray for your president to succeed, because if Ruto succeeds, you too have succeeded. Kenyans will have succeeded. Pray for him, support him, but where he's going wrong, criticize him.
Okay.
If it gets to a point we see he can't completely do it, we will remove him from power.
Are you praying for the president?
I am praying for the president. Ruto's success is my success. If he does well, I also am happy. Are you not getting what I'm saying? There will be money in my pocket. I also need some little money. Oh, you think I don't need money? I need some little money in my pocket.
And when you have money, I have money.
When I have money, you have money.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'll give you a bit of it, and you'll give him a bit of it.
Yeah.
We want the president to succeed. There is no better way than praying for him, supporting him, but much more than that, pointing out when he's going wrong. When he's trying to pamper institutions with the money which should be used in a better way. When he's saying you'll give MP CDF, when we know CDF is the money MPs are playing around with. The 30 billion given to CDF, if it's given to our universities for research, in 10 years, you will not believe.
Okay.
The money that was going to CDF, if we say that 30 billion now goes to universities for research, 5-10 years down the line, this country will not be the same. Now, the agriculture is talking about cannot move forward without research. There is no movement that is not knowledge propelled. Whether it's in agriculture, or you must use knowledge to propel it. You get it?
Okay.
So that 30 billion for CDF, push it into research. 20 billion to universities, 5 billion to agriculture research, 5 billion in innovations and other things. And in 10 years, this country will be a different place. Correct.
Well, I guess that's a good point to wrap up the conversation. Well, to do have these conversations again, enjoy the rest of your day.